Hi, I'm Juanita, and it's spoopy season. It's the spooky time of year. It's Halloween. That's why there's a breeze. It's not just that it's autumn in New Zealand. Today we're making zombies. This particular size of zombie here is a small one. He makes a great bag buddy if you just want a festive buddy on your handbag or your school backpack or your just whatever really, Stanley Cup girly, who knows? This one's DK weight yarn, or weight 3, and a 3.5mm hook. We're also going to make a larger one using a blanket yarn and a 6mm hook. So if you'd like the tutorial for this ridiculously easy zombie, let's follow along. Right, so here are our supplies. We've got black blanket yarn, we've got grey blanket yarn, we've got green blanket yarn. It does not really matter what size yarn it is as long as your hook size matches or is just a little bit smaller. This blanket yarn calls for an 8mm hook, but I'm going to be using a 7 today. We're going to start with the grey, and we're going to do 12 double crochet into 1 magic loop. Right now, our 12 double crochet into a magic loop does tell me that I haven't actually said whether I'm doing English or American terms. I'm doing American terms because I learnt the American way. You start by doing a chain 2 off of your magic loop. That does not count as a stitch. And then we're doing 1 double crochet, 2 double crochet, 3 double crochet, and so on and so forth until we get 12 in a circle. Now these 12, this makes up your zombie wings. All right, so you want to make 2 of these in grey and leave your yarn tails hanging. I'll show you in a sec. Okay, so we've got 2 wings here. These are both 12 double crochet into, this one's a magic loop and this one's a chain 3 work into the second chain version. So they both turn out to be very, very similar. So just work whichever one you like. The chain method does make it a little bit easier because closing the loop on this plush yarn is a pain in the butt, but the loop one's faster. So if you're making them for a market and you're experienced, I would go with the loop. If you're just wanting to put it together and you just don't want to deal with any of the hassles of plush yarn, just do the chain method. It's all good. So we've got these 2 wings. I haven't touched anything about the tails. They're just hanging out the bottom. The next thing we're going to do is to take our green yarn and we're going to do 6 single crochet into a magic loop or a ring. It doesn't really matter, but we're just starting with the 6 single crochet. Right, so here's our 6 single crochet into a magic loop. I'm going to be using stitch marker after this point because plush yarn is hard to see the stitches. I don't tend to bother with a stitch marker if I'm using the acrylic or worsted or wool yarn because you can just see things better. It's just better. Right, okay, next thing we're going to do is an increase round. We're going to put an increase into each one of these 6 stitches, which is going to leave us with 12 at the end of the row. So I'll just get that done. All right, we're currently up to 12 single crochet around the outside here. We're now going to do a 1 single crochet followed by an increase, 1 single crochet followed by an increase, 1 single crochet followed by an increase, and we're going to do that until we have the whole round completed, and that's going to give us 18 stitches in this round. Now you may notice that my little bee here is already the size of the other one. So this one's going to be a much bigger bee just because we've sized up the crochet hook and the yarn. All right, so we're up to our 18 stitches around here. This bee's way bigger than our little bee to begin with. Now we're going to do 2 single crochet followed by an increase, 2 single crochet followed by an increase. That's going to take us up to 24 stitches in the round. At 24 stitches in the round, we are at full size for our bee. So it's not too many stitches and it doesn't take long to put together. So 2 single crochet and then an increase all the way around. Righty, we're up to 24 stitches in our round. We're still on the green, so we can actually see the stitches, which is such a treat. We're now just going to do 1 full round of single crochets. So just single crochet all the way around this row. Right, so here we are, we finished the row. We're actually going to undo part of this last stitch because what we want on our bee is we want to try and make sure that we make the least amount of disruption in the force, for lack of a better description, when it comes to the rows. I'm still not the neatest at doing it. There is a way of doing it where you do a row of slip stitches and then you do the row of single crochets, but I don't think that's worth it in a project this small. Right, so what we're going to do is, first thing, we're going to, in our last stitch of the row, when we're at this point where we've got 2 bits, so this is the through bit, and now I am a walking example of why everybody should cake their yarn. We're just going to do the pull through in our new colour, which is going to be impossible to see. So we're now going to do a full row of single crochet in black, and we're going to want to lose the will to live because we can't see our stitches individually. Just give that a little tug. The advantage in changing colour in that last stitch of the row means that when we do the first stitch, the top of it is black rather than being green. So it's single crochet all the way around, and then I'll meet you back here at this point. So here we are on the last stitch of that round of black. Now, what we get if we just do a regular single crochet in this one here is we get the staggered bottom. So what I do, is this correct? Who knows? What I do, I'm just going to undo that one. We love frogging things, particularly when it's in black and we can't see what we're doing. I just come down into this loop here, which I don't know how you describe this loop, but just this loop here, just below, and we're just going to do our single crochet. Oh, get out of there, stitch marker. There. Now, it still definitely shows where our row change is, but it just sort of evens things out a little bit. Now, our next thing, we're just going to do another row in black, and then I'll meet you back here. Right, we're at the end of our black row. We're now going to do 2 rows of green the same way we've done 2 rows of black. So let's do 2 rows of green together. Right, okay, we've done our 2 rows of green. We're now going to do 2 rows of black. So same thing again, we're changing over in the last stitch of the previous green row. And when we've got the 2 rows of black done, we're going to actually cut off the black yarn, and we're going to add the eyes and the wings. So 2 rows of black, and then we've got some action. All right, so we finished our green rows, we finished our black rows, and here's the extra bit of grey. Here's the bottom where we've got the colour joins, and they're a little bit disguised. They're still noticeable, but they're a little bit disguised. So what we're going to do is turn them around and kind of squish them flat, because the next thing we're going to do is attach our wings. Now, the way that I attach the wings is using these long tails. Oh, we've got a beagle infestation. All we're going to do is stick the... Yes, thank you, Rocky. We're going to take these strings here. We're going to feed them through either side of our grey row, and then on the inside what we're going to do is just tie these together. Now, you can stitch these in, but I find that this is just as quick, just as easy, and it's going to stay there. They're not coming off. So there, we've got that tied in there. So now we've got our wing attached to this green section. Now we want to take our second wing, and we want to do the same thing. So just maybe put it 1 or 2 stitches apart. Again, no crochet police are coming for you. You do whatever you think is cutest. I do about 2 stitches because 2 feels like a good number. It looks cute, you know. So we're now going to, we've got the tails tucked through there for this one, and now we're just going to tie that into a knot, just like that. Right, so now we can tuck them in. So we have now got our wings. Oh, extra bit of fluff. You gotta love working with plush yarn. And I do mine facing up like this, but it doesn't actually matter which way you do them. Both sides look the same. Just make sure that if you're either doing both sides right side up or wrong side up. Yeah, I like them hanging a little bit floppy because he's a zombie. Now the next thing we need to do is to take our eye. Now in the front of our bee, on this guy here, what we've done is it's put in row 3. We've only got 1 in there, so, you know, anywhere you like. So here's row 1, 2, 3, and there's our wings. So I'm thinking about there. Let's have a look. Let's see what we think. Yep, that works for me. So I'm just going to reach inside his body and pop on the What's-It. Now, this What's-It here, you can choose whichever ones you want. I'm putting them on backwards because that's what I do. If we were doing this for a market or for children, I'd probably put a piece of plastic in there as well. And maybe even a bit of glue because you don't want them coming out. If you're in a place like the UK, you don't even want to use these eyes at all. I would just go with doing some amigurumi eyes, which I'll link a tutorial down below of how I do my amigurumi eyes. But there's our eye. The next thing we're going to do is we're in our green yarn. We are just going to do a full rotation of green single crochet. I'll do that and I will get back to you. All right, a row of green is done. We're now going to do 2 single crochet and then a decrease. So we're going to start closing in his bit. So we're going with 1 single crochet, putting in our stitch marker at the start of the row, 2 single crochet, oh, missed, 2 single crochet, and then we're going to do the decrease. You can do the invisible decrease, you can do the regular decrease, it doesn't really matter. No crochet police, again, you do what you like. I do the invisible one because I just find it to be a bit easier in this particular situation. And then the decrease. So we're doing this all the way around and we're going to be left with 18 stitches at the end of this row. So here we go. All right, so we finished that row. Now we're going to do another decrease row. So it's going to be a single crochet 1 and then a decrease all the way around. So we'll go into our first stitch, take out our stitch marker. Again, you don't have to use a stitch marker if you're feeling confident. There's no crochet police. 1. Stitch marker goes back in because I can't count. And then we're going to do a decrease. So just invisible decrease for me. And pull it through. We're going to continue that the whole way around, and at the end of this row we're going to have 12 stitches. Right, now that we've got this 12 single crochet hole, we're going to start stuffing our wee zombie. I'm just using some recycled plastic bottle fibre fill, but you do whatever works for you. I have used merino stuffing before, and I have used just a regular polyfill. It's just completely whatever you want. Now you can stuff your bee to whatever amount of stuff you want it to be. I'm going to go with a firm stuff. Then all we're going to do once he's all stuffed is we're going to decrease all the way around. So we're going to do 2 stitches into 1. So it's a decrease, 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 decrease all the way, and we're going to end up with 6 single crochet in the round at the end, and then we're going to stitch up his butt. So let's do that. All right, so we finished our 6 single crochet. We've just pulled the yarn through, and now all we're going to do is just close up that hole. Again, we're using plush yarn, so I expect it to just be really annoying and try to, you know, unravel itself. Then I just go through a couple of times, make it disappear. I still don't like these plastic needles, but they do work well for plush yarn because I find the metal ones I could easily go through the plush yarn. You don't want to be stabbing that central chain. Right, okay, so there we go. Our little zombie is all crocheted. Now we're just going to throw on a couple of extra bits and pieces. I've got a length of grey, oh grey, this is black. I can't even tell colours this morning. This is some just black, what do you call it, acrylic from a dollar store, I think. Right, okay, so we're just going to come through from, I like coming in from the black because that way you don't see the tail, and we're just going to make an X where his eye was, because, you know, he's been through it. Yep, he's had a tough time, and we're just making our X, and we're going to come back in the hole that we started. There's our X just like this. I'm going to tie the two ends together, just like that. Take my little snaps, snip those off, and pop that knot inside there. There's his missing eye, and we make that go away. And now we're going to take some red, and with this red, we're going to be doing his little scar. You can have as many scars as you want. You can make your bee as cute or as creepy as you so desire. But what I do to do this is I'm just going to go in from this green bit. I'm going to come out about here on the black, I think. And then I'm going to work out where I want it to go. Maybe like that. That feels good to me. Then I'm coming in that hole. Then I'm just going to come back this way and put some stitches over the top of my red yarn, just to make it look like he's got some bloody stitches. You know, it's the time of the year where you can say things like, you know, let's just stitch on some bloody stitches, and people go, oh, cute, as opposed to, that's dark, Juanita, that's very dark. Right, and I think we'll do one more just here. We'll go in there a little bit, I reckon. Yeah. There's no real method to what I'm doing there. And then we're coming back in out the same hole that we went in with our tail. We're just going to pull that so that we can see this here. We're going to take these ends, tie them together. Snippety snip, pop in the knot, and we are good to go. Here is our finished zombie. Right, so there we have it. It's the same pattern, it's the same zombie, it's just two different sizes. Here comes the dog. Typical. This one, remember, is worsted weight yarn, and it's on a 3.5mm hook. Honestly, that dog is nuts. And this one here is a blanket yarn on a 6mm hook. He scales with size, as you can see. He works up really, really quickly. You can put on as many scars as you like. You can make him as cute or as scary as you want, and any colour kind of works. So enjoy making your really own zombies this Halloween. Ooh, spoopy. I'll catch you next week. Bye.